it's Amanda here from Lolli Lulu Crafts, and today I am back, and as promised I have a fun card featuring stickers. Now these are like 3D stickers. They're not puffy in that they're not soft puffy, they're actually kind of hollow at the back, and they're kind of like a harder plastic, and they're just really adorable, as you can see. And I really just am carrying on with my campaign to prove that stickers don't have to be just for kids or for crafters that are just starting out, that you can use them and make them look fantastic, because I think there's this reputation that they have, and I just think it's unfair. So I'm starting out with this beautiful paper pad. I've had this a while. I don't know if it's available still. I hope it is, because I'd love to get some more. It's by Echo Park and it's called Summer Days, and I'm grabbing this beautiful yellow and then this gorgeous sort of scalloped multicolored piece. I don't know what it is about rainbowy colors at the moment. I'm just really into this sort of bright colors. I just keep doing it without even meaning to, so apologies. I've got my 6x6 card base that, if you've watched me before, you know I've said to you I had got these made, and then I had a layer also done to go with those that was about 1/4 inch all the way around, smaller, so that I could then layer behind it if I wanted to, with 1/8 of an inch gaps each way. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm sticking the white layer onto the yellow piece of card, and then I will cut that to about 1/4 of an inch, sorry, 1/8 of an inch on each side. Now, in order to slightly cheat on that to make things easier, why not do 2 of the sides correctly and stick it down so that it's about the 1/8 of an inch. I mean, I'm not doing it like perfectly, I'm just doing it by eye. It's not, you know, it doesn't need to be absolutely precise, but it's just an approximation. And then I'm just using my trimmer here, and again, just by eye, cutting those 2 other sides. Now you need to watch this, because it is really easy to overcut it. So if anything, cut it too big and then do a little bit more than too small. So then, taking my pattern piece, I just want to cut it to the right width of the white piece. So I just marked that with a pencil, and I'm just double checking that I had actually marked it on the right side, because when you turn it over you're like, oh, what did I do in the right direction? And then once it's the right width, I'm just going to have a little sort of think and just work out which way up gives me the colours and also the design, because obviously the scallop would be going up or down depending on which side I cut from. So I was just having a look at that and sort of thinking, where do I want to cut it as well? So I decided that to get a nice balance of colours, but also to bring in that lovely yellow, I was just going to cut by hand, just angling my scissors very slightly, that sort of angling them down underneath the side that you're underneath the top, as it were. That helps with the whiteness, but you could always put a little link on the edge if you didn't like that. I have to say I didn't think of it at that point in time, and because I was sticking it completely flat onto white, I really didn't think that any kind of little bits of white edge would really show that much anyway. So again, I'm just using my construction glue here. I've really fallen in love with that glue. It gives you a little bit of movement, but once it's stuck, it stays stuck. It's so strong, so it's kind of a really nice glue to use. And then I decided that it would be nice to do pretty much the same idea using the other part of the scalloped piece of card on the inside there, but I put a piece of green down just to give it a bit of a pop. And then I'm taking my layer here and I'm just sticking the whole thing to the front of the card. So basically now we've got the scallops on the inside with a green mat behind, and then I've got the scallops on the front as well. So now I want to make my sentiment, and I'm going to make this into a sentiment flag, and of course with the little birds I've got to use a little bird sentiment, and so I've got your bird day, and I'm using this gorgeous pink ink from stamping Simon Says Stamp, and it's called Doll Pink, but it's a very fine stamp, and I don't like pressing fine stamps very hard, and since I've got the stamp platform, it allows me to stamp it a few times to get the colour really nice and deep. Now the reason I don't like stamping pressing hard on the finer stamps is that you lose that fineness because you kind of squish it and make it thicker. So now I'm going to actually die cut my stamped sentiment and a layer of the yellow using my Sue Wilson flags. I love these, I use these a lot. And then I can mat and layer the sentiment onto the yellow flag because they will layer up. You have to take one from one part of the set, one from another part of the set, but they do layer up really, really nicely, as you can see, and they've got that lovely stitched edge to it. And again, I'm just using my construction glue here, and I'm using my tweezers because you just end up really gluey otherwise, and I'm just making sure that all the sides are nicely glued but not over glued. You don't want it all squishing out the sides. And then I'm just pushing it down, making sure it's all nice and level. Now you'll see that the sentiment is up towards the flag end because I know that I want to cut off that other end, so I know that it's going to be too long, so I've put the sentiment as far to the part of the flag as I could without it looking squashed, so that I can then cut that down to size in due course. So then it's time to sort out my little stickers. Now they're stuck onto a clear sort of plastic. I can't tell you what these are. These were just some stickers that my mum picked up when she was away visiting a friend, and they've not got any particular brand on them. So it just says like craft stickers. It doesn't put any branding at all. But because it's on the clear, I can cut them out to decide which ones I want and where I want them, and that made it a lot simpler. So there I cut out 2 pink ones because I thought that I'd want both the same colour, but actually when I fiddled around with it I was not happy with the 2 the same colour, and I changed that. And here you can see where I am going to have to adjust that sentiment as well. So as you can see, I went for a little blue bird with the pink bird because you can see the blue is in the scallops there, and it's also got the purple that's in his wings, so it all kind of went together really well. I also then, as you saw, just marked the little sentiment flag with a pencil so that I knew the size to cut it down to, and then again using that construction glue I'm just popping that in place so I knew roughly where it needed to be, and then I'm just sticking that down. So then the next thing we need to do is just peel my little birdies off their background, making sure obviously that's nice and straight, and then we will stick them down. Now you can see there how it's kind of hollow. It's not puffy, it's kind of 3D, but it's not kind of like, you see some that are like puffy and they kind of feel squashy. This felt like, if I wasn't careful, if I squished it too hard down, they stuck really well actually. I was surprised, they were very strong adhesive, but it felt like if I pressed too hard I would actually sort of put a dent in them. So I was trying to be really careful how I did that because I was like, oh, I don't want to dent it. But as I say, it seemed to have the adhesive on the areas that were down onto the cardstock seemed really strong. They'd obviously taken care to appreciate that there was going to be quite a small area that was adhering to the cardstock, and they made sure that that was nice and firm and was going to stay put. So then I decided it just needed something, so I started just playing around with the flowers, the 3D flowers. There was also a couple of more flat stickers on there, just some flowers as well, like that one there, the little green one was flat, and I just sort of was playing around really with putting them down, and I've sort of put them down quite lightly. I didn't push them down, and then I could pick them back up again until I was absolutely happy with them. I just wanted to, I don't know, it just add something. Now you might feel that it didn't need that. It's kind of personal choice. I already felt the card was so colourful and kind of over the top anyway that it just didn't matter. But then I felt when I did that it was almost bottom heavy, and I had tried putting some of the stickers at the top, but it just didn't feel it looked right. It was kind of like flowers at the top. Somehow it looked like the flowers were kind of on the ground there, and so putting flowers at the top just looked kind of strange. I don't know, it just didn't work, but it needed something to balance the card out. So that was when I was playing around with ribbon. Now I tried some like silk ribbon, but again that was too heavy. I went for this much finer organza ribbon in the end, and again I just did try doing a bow, but again it looked too heavy in my opinion, so I just did a knot and cut the little ends off to give it almost like a fake bow. And then I added just a little gem. Before adding the gem, by the way, I did add a bit of a glue dot underneath the knot of the ribbon just to make sure it didn't keep sliding around the card. And then I added that little gem, and it was in the blue because I felt that it brought that blue of the bird into play, and it just balanced the colours, and I just felt it finished the card off. And that was it. That is it done. So I hope you've enjoyed making this card with me, and I hope you like the finished card. As always, I've got a ton of pictures of the finished card on my blog post, so do make sure you go on over there to take a look. And also, of course, I've got links, and finally you can subscribe to me so you make sure you get notifications of my posts. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. For now, bye.